For over a decade, Fujifilm has stood apart in the camera industry, carving out a philosophy that refuses to follow the same predictable path that so many of its competitors chase. While other manufacturers emphasize raw numbers, ever higher megapixel counts, lightning-fast burst rates, and endless video specifications, Fujifilm has consistently chosen a different road. Its focus has been on something less tangible but infinitely more powerful: the emotion of photography. It's a brand that builds cameras to feel alive in your hands, tools that invite you to create with intention rather than simply capture data. And now, whispers from within the industry suggest that something long-awaited, something destined, is just around the corner. The Fujifilm X-Pro for camera is more than a rumored piece of equipment. It represents a continuation of a story that began back in 2012. That was the year the first X-Pro camera arrived, a camera that dared to blend analog charm with digital precision, looking backwards to photography's golden age while still leaning into the possibilities of the modern era. Photographers who picked up that first model felt something unusual. It wasn't just about specifications or performance benchmarks. It was about holding a bridge between two worlds, one of film nostalgia and another of digital innovation. Now, with the anticipation building for the X-Pro for camera, there's a sense that Fujifilm may once again redefine that bridge, bringing something entirely fresh without losing the soul that made the line so beloved. At the heart of the speculation lies a single pressing question: what sensor will Fujifilm put into this new camera? The most consistent rumor points toward the 40-megapixel APS-C X-Trans CMOS 5HR sensor, the same one currently inside Fujifilm's latest flagship, the X-T5 camera. If true, this would be the highest resolution ever in an X-Pro body, giving photographers immense flexibility to crop, enlarge, and print their images at massive scales without compromising quality. But the megapixel count only tells a fraction of the story. What has always separated Fujifilm from the pack is the intangible element of its color science, the way its sensors render light and tone with a character reminiscent of film. Imagine standing on the quiet streets of Kyoto as the sun rises, casting an orange glow against weathered temple walls. With an X-Pro for camera, those subtle reds and deep shadows wouldn't just be recorded, they'd be transformed into images that pulse with life. Yet every Fujifilm photographer knows that resolution and color are only part of the conversation. The X-Pro camera line has historically been associated with thoughtful shooting, often prioritizing design and experience over cutting-edge speed. One area where critics have sometimes leveled complaints is autofocus performance. While perfectly adequate for slower-paced street or portrait work, previous X-Pro camera models never rivaled the speed of flagship sports cameras. That could change dramatically with the X-Pro for camera if it inherits the AI-powered autofocus system developed for the X-H2S. Such technology doesn't just find faces, it tracks people, animals, vehicles, and even birds mid-flight with precision. Suddenly, the X-Pro line would no longer be confined to contemplative scenes, it would be capable of handling fleeting, chaotic moments. Picture yourself in the crowded heart of Paris, camera raised as a subject weaves between tables at a cafe. The autofocus locks onto their eyes instantly, refusing to let go even as distractions fill the frame. In that instant, the X-Pro camera becomes more than a nostalgic tool. It becomes a machine that can freeze time in the blink of an eye. Video has never been the primary focus of the X-Pro camera series, yet the landscape of creativity has changed. Today's photographers are often expected to switch seamlessly into video mode, and modern creators demand a single tool that can do both. That's why the rumored inclusion of 6K video recording and F-Log to profiles in the X-Pro for camera is so intriguing. Imagine capturing a short film in Fujifilm's signature black and white film simulation, the cobblestones of a rain-soaked street glistening under neon signs while faces in motion carry raw, cinematic emotion. Suddenly, the X-Pro camera doesn't just live in the still photography realm, it becomes an instrument for cinema, capable of telling stories in motion with the same artistry it brings to still frames. But even with new sensors, autofocus systems, and video features, the soul of the X-Pro camera has always been in its hybrid viewfinder. This dual system, allowing photographers to switch between an optical viewfinder and an electronic one, has long been a defining trait of the series. The X-Pro 4 is expected to refine this unique feature even further, with brighter optics, smoother refresh rates, and seamless transitions between OVF and EVF modes. For anyone who has used an X-Pro camera before, this isn't just a technical specification, it's a deeply personal experience. Imagine standing in the bustling markets of Morocco. You lift the camera to your eye and look through the optical finder, seeing the world unfiltered and touched. Then, with a flick, you shift into the electronic viewfinder, where exposure, color, and shadows preview in real time. That simple switch doesn't just change how you photograph, it changes how you connect to the act itself. It's like holding two cameras in one, both rooted in different philosophies yet working together in harmony. Design is another arena where Fujifilm has always excelled. The X-Pro camera line carries with it the DNA of classic rangefinders, a silhouette instantly recognizable and timeless. Rumors suggest the X-Pro camera will hold onto this legacy while making subtle refinements, thinner bezels, improved weather sealing, and possibly a no LCD mechanism that blends traditional design with modern usability. Picture wandering through Tokyo's streets on a rainy evening, your camera rugged against the elements yet elegant enough to feel like a trusted companion. It's not just a tool, it becomes part of your journey, something that feels alive in your hands as you capture fleeting scenes of the city around you. Of course, in the modern era, photography isn't just about capturing an image, it's about how quickly you can share it. Workflow speed has become nearly as important as shutter speed. Fujifilm seems to recognize this, with rumors pointing toward faster wireless transfers, USB-C tethering, and tighter app integration. For professionals, this could be transformative. Imagine a photojournalist in New York City, covering a breaking story. Within seconds of pressing the shutter, the images are transferred directly to an editor across town, ensuring that the photographer stays ahead in a world where every second matters. This isn't just convenience, it's survival in the modern creative industry. But beneath all of the specifications, all of the rumored upgrades, lies something deeper. The X-Pro camera is not just about technology. It's about a philosophy that has run through Fujifilm's design choices since the beginning. Where other brands race toward uniformity, releasing predictable updates year after year, Fujifilm continues to push against the grain. It dares to build cameras that are not simply functional, but inspiring. The X-Pro camera line embodies this most clearly. Its rangefinder-inspired design, hybrid viewfinder, and ergonomics all work together to slow the photographer down, to invite intention, to encourage awareness. And yet, the rumored improvements show that Fujifilm isn't afraid to embrace modern demands, creating a camera that can shift effortlessly between meditative, deliberate shooting and lightning-fast action when the situation demands it. This balance between reflection and reaction, tradition and innovation is what could make the X-Pro camera truly special. For those chasing nothing but numbers, technical perfection, or the latest spec sheet battles, there may be other cameras that suit them better. But for photographers who crave storytelling, who want a camera that feels alive in their hands, who see their gear as more than a cold piece of machinery, the X-Pro camera represents a promise. It promises that photography is still, at its core, about human connection. It's about slowing down long enough to notice, to feel, to translate vision into memory. Of course, none of these rumors are set in stone. Some of the details may shift, some of the features may be different, and the final camera could surprise us in ways we haven't imagined. But one thing seems inevitable: Fujifilm will once again make an impact, not by following the crowd, but by staying true to its philosophy. When the X-Pro camera finally arrives, it won't just be another press release, another spec sheet buried in an endless cycle of product launches. It will be a moment, a celebration of individuality, a continuation of a story that reminds us photography is as much about the soul as it is about the sensor. And perhaps that is why anticipation feels so different this time. The X-Pro camera isn't simply awaited as a new piece of equipment, it's awaited as a symbol. For many, it is the spark that might reignite passion in an era where photography sometimes feels consumed by technology rather than enriched by it. When it arrives, it could very well remind us why we first picked up a camera, why we chase light, why we press the shutter in the first place. Not to count pixels, not to measure speed, but to feel alive, to connect, to remember.